This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, May 30th. Please stand for our invocation led by Dr. Carlos Dixon, Washington Memorial Church, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pastor Dixon. If not, Mr. Mayor, a word of prayer.
Everybody here, please. Gracious and merciful Father, as we come before you today, Lord, we thank you for who you are and all that you do. Lord, we thank you for giving us an opportunity to be stewards of the gifts, resources, and responsibilities of moving the city of Mobile forward. Lord, we pray that we'd be ever mindful of the needs of all of our citizens. Lord, we thank you for your favor upon this city and pray that you would continue to favor us. In the mighty name of your Son, we pray. Amen.
Roll call. President Small.
Here.
Vice President Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Statement of rules.
And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good to see everybody this morning. Welcome to our weekly meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone have any type of electronic device, including cell phones, please at this time put it on the off or the vibrate position. The off or the vibrate position. Any person desiring to address the council must sign in indicating the resolution, ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must state his or her name and address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk office no later than 2:00 p.m. the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to express to the council must be identified and pertain to the city of Mobile business. Any person who has not given proper notice to the city clerk office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item would not be allowed to address the council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates the time has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council member. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no personal applause and or public outcry allowed. Madam City Clerk.
Approval of minutes of May 23rd.
Salute.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Communications from Mayor Stimson.
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning?
Morning.
All right, so if you are a yes intern, please raise your hand. Okay. Well, welcome to the City Council meeting. I'm sure if you're staying for the whole time, you'll see how city government, a part of city government works. Many of you who will be employed by the city will also see how different departments work. So we're excited that you're here, and there'll be more about the YES initiative in the program that somebody else will explain it in depth. But again, I welcome you and good luck to you in the coming weeks. So we continue to, our design team for the Africatown Welcome Center continues to seek input from the community. We've had 2 public input meetings. We'll continue to have more. The design team has, right at this time, 3 early concepts of what the Welcome Center could look like. We'll continue to take feedback on those concepts. There are pamphlets in the atrium that show the basis of those concepts, and so please feel free to take a pamphlet and also go online and tell us what you think about it. You can find that online with Africatown Welcome Center at the City of Mobile. Just go to our website and you'll be able to figure out where you could give your input. Another note, very excited for the partnership that is existing between the City of Mobile and the Mobile Arts Council, working in conjunction with our GIS department. We are now mapping all of the public art in the City of Mobile. We will map all the murals, statues, sculptures, and more. And you can find a link to the app on the cities and the Art Council's websites and social media accounts. Anyway, once it's built out, anywhere that we have in the city, any type of art, you'll be able to go online and find information about those works of art. Today, I want to have one proclamation to read. It has to do with National Wear Orange Day. And the proclamation reads, whereas every day more than 120 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 200 are shot and wounded, with an average of more than 17,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas cities across the nation, including Mobile, Alabama, are working to end the senseless gun violence with evidence-based solutions, and whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever as we see an increase in firearm homicides and non-fatal shootings across the country, increased calls to domestic violence hotlines, and an increase in city gun violence. And whereas wearing orange, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the hands of people who should not have access to them, and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our families and communities safe. Now, therefore, I, William S. Stimson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, do hereby proclaim June 2nd, 2023 as Wear Orange Day in the City of Mobile. And I would ask Allie Flowers and Lakeisha Chestnut, please come forward.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lakeisha Chestnut. I am the local group lead for the Mobile and Baldwin County chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. Wear Orange is a very important day for us. It is a day that we honor not only those that we've lost, but those that are left behind to gun violence. Wear Orange Day was started by the Friends of Hadia Pendleton, the young lady who passed away, who was shot and passed away in Chicago a few days after she performed at the Barack Obama's inauguration in 2013. Her friends decided on her birthday, which is June 2nd, to wear the color orange to remind each one of us that we're all out here and we're safe. So we wear orange to remind ourselves that we are safe. Gun violence is a very, very critical issue for all of us. It affects every last one of us, no matter if you know someone that you lost to gun violence or whether you know someone who's lost someone to gun violence. It affects us all. And so we're asking the city of Mobile and the people of the city of Mobile to rally around us as we celebrate and honor our victims and as well as our survivors on June 2nd, as well as on June 3rd at Medal of Honor Park as we march and rally and honor and as we honor and celebrate our survivors and our victims. Thank you so much. Thank you for the compliment.
Thank you.
Thank you. This time I'd like to call on Joe Snowden to introduce the Employee of the Month.
Well, good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce our Administrative Services Employee of the Month. This was no surprise when I saw this nomination come across my desk. Deambro Chapman within our comms team has such phenomenal talent, and every day it's a pleasure to see his smiling face in the office and totally amazed at, the work he produces. Some of the videos that I've seen with the cruise ship terminal and Veterans Day are just blows your mind away. And it's such a pleasure to have him here, and we're going to need someone to take his place. Okay. So. And then we have.
Very briefly, I'm Jason, Deputy Comms Director. Just want to say, when we were doing the interview process to bring Diambro on, he showed us a video of someone we'd never met, and it almost made two of us cry. So that's what good storytelling can do, and that's what he does, helps us do every day. So thank you, Diambro.
First of all, I want to acknowledge my wife and my son up there who came to see me. And I want to thank God for the abilities and the talents he's given me to take care of them. It's the main reason why I do it. Also, I'm so excited to be a part of this team. The mayor is a great guy, and I'm so excited and honored to be under a mayor who still agrees with prayer and prayers for the whole team. So that's something I'm really excited about. Also, I wouldn't be able to do the work I've done if it wasn't for Jason and Candace and Aaron and Charlotte, everybody that makes up this team. So everybody, even the city council, every time you all see me, you all encourage me and you tell me how much you love my work, and that goes a long way. So I want to thank all of you.
Congratulations. Mr.
This time
President.
I'll call on Jim DeLapp to make an introduction.
Good morning. This won't be the first time that you've met our new Parks and Rec director, but I wanted to take an opportunity to publicly recognize our new Parks and Recreation director, Miss Kim Carmody. Kim is a military family member who they retired in Pensacola, and she's been working in the morale, welfare, and recreation part of the military and the Parks and Recreation throughout the United States, and has been with the Parks and Rec Department in Pensacola for the last several years. And when we were searching for a new director for Parks and Rec, she jumped at the opportunity. And I say that because she met Shonda, our outgoing Parks and Rec director, who I'll talk about in a second, at an event, a national Parks and Rec symposium. And Shonda was talking about all the great things happening in Mobile and all the great things happening in the Parks and Rec department in Mobile. And it really sparked Kim's interest. And so when she saw and heard that this opening was available, she jumped at the opportunity. So we're really, really excited to have her here. So I'll turn it over to Kim just to say a couple words.
Thank you, Council President and Council. I love Mobile, and what Mr. Lapp said is absolutely accurate. I saw it. It kept coming forward, and Shonda is a great advocate, and I hope to be as good of an advocate as she has been in bringing people aboard and contributing to Mobile.
Yeah, congratulations. You got some big shoes to fill.
And before I sit back down, I just also want to thank Shonda Smith for everything she's done for the city and for our Parks and Rec department. Over the 4 years plus that she's been here, has really helped to transform what Parks and Rec is in the city of Mobile. It has become a national model in many instances, from things like Roll Mobile to the things we have at Saturdays at the Coop to other events we're doing in the city. All were under her leadership, and I know Kim's going to continue to move those forward and even take them to new or higher levels. But Shonda, as you'll probably recall, she was moved up to be the Deputy Executive Director of Public Works, and she's doing a phenomenal job there, taking all the things she did in Parks and Rec and spreading it across basically half of the city staff and the rest of Parks and Public Works. So again, Shonda, thank you so much for all you've done, and Kim, congratulations.
That concludes my remarks, Mr. President.
Monthly finance reports.
Good morning, Mr. President. Mr. Vice President,
and the rest of the council. Okay, this is the month of April we're going to talk about today. And actually, April turned out to be a pretty good month. A little bit of caution on the part of all of us before we moved in, but nevertheless, it turned out pretty well. Just some of the highlights for the month. Our sales tax revenue for April was $18.5 million against our budget of $16.4. So we got about $2.1 million ahead of budget. And actually, compared to last year, that was pretty healthy increase, because last year, instead of the 18 that we made this year, we made 16.8 million last year. So a nice growth in sales revenue for the month. And year to date, we've collected $118 million in sales revenue against a budget of 109, so we're about $8.6 million ahead of budget for the year. On total revenue, for the month, we were $25.6 million against a budget of 21.7, so we're $3.8 million ahead of budget. And for the year to date, $213 million in sales revenue versus a budget of 195, so we're $17.8 million ahead of plan. And actually similar to the just the tax revenue, overall revenue for the year compared to last year is about $3.5 million better than what it was last year. So that's I think a pretty encouraging first 7 months for the year, and it leaves us in a pretty healthy financial position. I'll go into that in just a minute. As far as our expenses go, the trend has been running pretty much the same all year. On public safety, our budget was $64 million. We've spent $57 million this year, so we're about $7 million ahead of plan. On public works, our budget was 39. We've spent 33, so we're about $6 million better than budget this year. And then admin services, 7.8 against was our budget. We had 6.2 in actual expenses, so we're $1.5 million better than there. And for all cost centers, we are our budget was 153. We've come in at 136, so we're about $17 million better than budget in spending this year. So all in all, a pretty good start to the year. Just talk a little bit about the balance sheet and our surplus. We started the month with a surplus of 172. We ended up at 174, which is representative of the earnings that we made. That will change this year. As you all recall, we took $40 million out in this past month, and you will see a decline of that amount in our surplus by the end of this month. But I think it's something that we all knew was going to be there, and was all for good reasons. As far as just general information, you know what's interesting? One of the things that we've really started to look at, really toward the end of last year, was our interest rates on deposits. And you know, if you read and you followed some of the interest rates last year, you knew that interest rates were basically at zero or not much different than zero. And for the last couple of years, we really didn't make any money off investments. And over the last 6 months, 8 months, there's been a pretty sizable increase in interest rates, almost up to 5%. And fortunately, we've been able to take advantage of that. So that's brought in the first couple of the last 4 months, about $4 million. So I think that if we continue at that rate by the end of the year, that'll help further strengthen our balance sheet going forward. Inflation is still high. It's down to 4.9, but it's interesting along those same lines that I just talked about. You ask the banks whether or not they think the rates are going to continue to go up. Right now, most of them think there'll be a pause, but they're still not going to start lowering rates anytime soon, as long as that as long as that inflation rate is over 2.5%. So it's going to be something for us to watch over the next couple of months. Other than that, I think the big uncertainty out there this week was will the U.S. default on its debt, and it looks to me like they probably won't, which is a good thing. I didn't know this, but this event's happened 60 times over the last 45 years, and so far no one has ever defaulted. But and everybody is worried about it, and they should be, because really no one knows what would happen if they did, because we've never been there before. But if in fact it did happen, which now it doesn't look like it will, it would be something that we would have to contend with. Other than that, that's really all I have to say this month. Let's see. I did want to say, though, that in case you don't know, this is my last council meeting, and I'll be leaving the city at the end of the week, and I certainly appreciate all the support I've had from all of you all during the time that I've been here. I think the council is really a great organization. I've enjoyed getting to know you all and working with you all over the last couple of years, and by all means, thank you for all of your support. And I'd like to just extend a real debt of gratitude to the mayor, because he was the one who found me and gave me the opportunity. I don't think, nor did I at the time, that the job would go only 2 years. But sometimes things come up in life that you just got to deal with, and that's the case with me. But Mayor Stimson, thank you very much for all your support and for giving me the opportunity to be here. It's really been great working with you and the rest of the staff here in the city. Thank you. Well, Bob, you've done an outstanding job, and we're tremendously grateful. There are a lot of our retirees that will have no clue what you and your team have done to solidify and make our retirement system better. And for those in the audience, you know, when you're part of a retirement system, you just think that when you retire, the money's going to be there. Well, Bob worked in the steel industry for a number of years, and the company that he was working for went broke, and all of a sudden he had no retirement that he'd been promised for so many years. So our retirement program has always, let's say, been fiscally sound, but the mechanics of how we tracked everything was not state of the art. And under his leadership, it is now state of the art, where all of our retirees, just with a click of the telephone, can find out what their status is. And as we continue to build apps out, they'll be able to, you know, update and play kind of what-if games. If I work another year, what does that mean to my retirement? So, Bob, part of your legacy, other than that, is that you've done a magnificent job just keeping us on track for being fiscally sound. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I also would like to say, Mr. Holt, it was a pleasure to working with you. I don't mind working with nobody, you know, especially, you know, when they humble. And the title that you have in the city of Mobile, you was a humble individual carrying that title. And again, you're going to be greatly missed from down here at City Hall. I mean, even from doing the finance, the yearly budget, I mean, you were just a pleasure to work with. And again, I appreciate all that you have done for the city.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. President.
Mr. Davis.
I also would like to thank Mr. Holt for the really exemplary service you have given to the city of Mobile. You took on a demanding full-time job at a point in time when you didn't really have to do that. And you've just performed very, very well. You've been very easy to deal with from the council's perspective. You've been fair, honest, straightforward, direct, candid, and I certainly appreciate your efforts and wish you the best of luck. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. President, one more for Bob. One more for Bob. Man, I really wish you wouldn't leave at this time of year. As we head into the budget process, over the last 2 years, it's been extremely easy to pick up the phone and call, easy to talk to, easy to express the idea and, I guess, directions and things that I'd like to see in a district. It's been real easy, but knowing that it is about to be June and we're about to get knee-deep into next year's budget, really wish you stick around for at least 3 more months, but I understand what you have to do. And again, it's really been a pleasure to work with you and to have someone that has been as transparent as you have been when it has come to actual numbers and dealing with the city. So thanks again.
Ms. Gregory.
And Bob, I just want to add my thanks for all that you have done. You have been so welcoming and upfront and helpful, really, to all of us on the council. Whenever we had questions, you were very quick to respond and always able to just explain things. And like CJ said, a very humble man, and we appreciate all that you have done. You certainly came to us at a time when we were needing someone with your expertise and your level-headedness, and like William says, I just wish you weren't leaving. I had heard a nasty rumor that you were going to be leaving, but I quickly forgot, thinking that maybe that's all it was. But yeah, we will miss you. You've done a tremendous job for us, so thank you so much.
Mr. Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. To Mr. Holt, I definitely was saddened to hear that you was leaving. I said, oh, no, not Mr. Holt. You are really a great person, outside of doing your duties. I just enjoyed our conversations, headed back to the office. So thank you so much. Enjoy your another retirement. and I speak blessings to you and your family.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
I'm not going to be left out. Bob, thank you for your service to the city. I've really enjoyed working with you. I think you are very humble and very smart, very brilliant, and it's been very easy to work with you and understand your perspective and the mayor's perspective through your view, and you're going to be deeply missed around here, at least by me for sure, but hats off to you on a job well done. Thanks, Bob.
Mr. President,
Mr. Lambert.
I would like to echo the sentiments of the City Council to Bob. You will be missed. We thank you for your assistance to the City Clerk and City Council offices during your time here. And we're confident that you've left some good people behind in charge to following your footsteps. Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second and in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for waive the noise ordinance on June the 9th through the 16th at McLean Avenue, July 7th on Moffett Road, and June the 3rd in Medal of Honor Park.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second and in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Appeal passes.
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to rezone property located at 650 Michigan Avenue from R1, R3, and I1 to I1.
Just up with the public hearing for this particular said item. Is anyone present that would like to address the council on this item? You may come down to the podium by stating your name. Again, this open up the public hearing for this particular said item. If not, this public hearing is closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Gary Thomas.
Good morning. I'm Gary Thomas, activity coordinator, volunteer coordinator for the City of Mobile Parks and Recreation. And with that being said, I bring greetings from Parks and Recreation's headquarters, Mayor Sandy Simpson, to the council, all sitting board members. I just want to introduce Mayor Sandy Simpson just gave a proclamation on gun violence, and this is pretty much a result from youth violence, is the YES internship program that we have. As you guys can see, we have about 130 YES interns in the building today, and like I said, it stemmed from Mayor Sandy Simpson's uptick in gun violence in 2016, 2017, and so to deter that, in the recent years, Mayor Sandy Simpson put together the YES program, which includes the incentive to employ and to empower all of these youth right here. Of course, we couldn't get 1,000 or 1,000,000 youth for this summer, so this is 125 to 130 kids that we are able to employ to actually teach them dress code skills, sexual harassment skills, or harassment skills, period. And so today and tomorrow there'll be an orientation. And then Thursday, June 1st, all the way through the end of July, they will be out in city government. They'll be here in Government Plaza and other entities across the city for employment, and they will be paid this summer as well. So we just wanted to introduce and bring them out here to see how local government works, beginning with you guys, and we'll go back into orientation for the remainder of the day and tomorrow, and send them out there in our city for the remainder of June and July. So I just wanted to congratulate these guys, these ladies and gentlemen, for going through the application process, going through the interview process, because we started with 570 applications, and we had to narrow it down, and this is the result from 570 students and interns throughout the city to narrow it down to 125 to 130. So I just wanted to bring them here and just give them another round of applause for making it this far.
Yeah, I would like to thank you, Mr. Thomas, for coming down, and also I'd like to thank the mayor and his administration for starting this program, and I also want to thank the youth. You all look good out there. Just remember this: reach for the sky. The sky is the limit. Your attitude sets your altitude. As long as you have a great attitude, you can go as far as you want. And never tell nobody that you can't do anything. You can do anything that you set your mind to. Remember, God don't make no junk. God made you.
And Mr. President, can we get all of the students to please stand? I'd like the cameras to be able to get a good shot of you all. So please stand so we can recognize you one more time. And we look forward to seeing a number of you around Government Plaza this summer. And in our offices, in particular.
I know my 3 minutes is probably it, but I wanted to actually point out the staff, because we built this thing from the ground up. Right. Even though it's been in place for a few years right now, we actually started from the ground up. So our team lead and our team mentor, Phelan Carter, Jack Green, Miss Deanne Popple, Shaq Collins, and of course, Miss Shonda and myself, Gary Thomas, worked very hard to get this together. So I just wanted to congratulate the team as well.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I want to say congratulations to the youth. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Thank you, Mayor Stimson. To the youth that's here, I want you to continue to go forward in your goals. I see my former teacher here, Miss Flowers, right here in the room, and she was an educator for me at LaFleur, and she actually helped change my life. And so it started at LaFleur for me, and so I want you to listen to your staff. Listen to the people that's a leader in front of you, and learn, because one day you will be, matter of fact, it's not one day, you are our leaders right now. So go forward and lead. Thank you, Mr. President.
Katie Herndon.
Good morning. My name is Katie Herndon. By now, I'm sure you all are aware of the situation going on at 918 and 920 Conti Street. I'm here speaking on behalf of my parents. My dad is the rector at All Saints Episcopal Church and is on his first ever sabbatical out of the country. I'm also speaking on behalf of everyone in this city who cares about the historic fabric of Mobile. We started a petition to stop the moving of these houses 4 days ago, and we already have 800 signatures and counting. My parents have lived in their house located directly next to these properties since 2007. These properties were residential and families lived in them. In 2015, the Historic Restoration Society, Inc., whose mission is to preserve the historic or architectural character of Mobile, Alabama, purchased the houses. My parents spoke with representatives of this organization regarding their plan for these homes. They were told they were fixing them up for a guest cottage or an office-type space. In the following years, there were multiple attempts to rezone the property to commercial. The last attempt was in 2018, and representatives of the Historic Restoration Society told my parents they were intending to use this property for parking. My parents opposed it because it would adversely affect their property value And importantly, it would have adversely affected the residential character of a historic neighborhood. This never came to be, and since then, the houses have sat empty and fallen into disrepair. Just this last week, my brother and I noticed work being done on the houses. I honestly thought, wow, great, they're fixing them up. I don't know much about construction, but I realized something major was being done to them. One of the neighbors asked the construction workers what they were doing, and they casually said they were moving them to Frisco City, Alabama. Not only are they trying to move them illegally, but move them completely out of Mobile. I've printed out a section from the City of Mobile ordinances regarding the demolition and relocation of a building within a historic district. Please see the highlighted. I won't go through all of these, but you can see that in no way, shape, or form is this allowed, as it shouldn't be, because it will destroy the neighborhood and the residents who live next to this will be adversely affected financially. This would set a dangerous precedent for our historic neighborhoods. This blatant disregard for the law, the neighborhood, and Mobile's historic district should be very concerning to our elected officials. I'm here to tell you there's a groundswell of people who oppose the removal of historic homes in Mobile. I know this currently is not up to the City Council to decide whether this is allowed or not, but it could potentially come before you. I and the people I represent wish for you to be prepared for when the time comes to do the right thing. Clearly, this organization thought that their actions would go unnoticed, but we have noticed, the City of Mobile has noticed, and those of us who relish Mobile's historic legacy will not stand for this. Thank you for your time.
Thank
you. Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
Is there anyone here from the administration that could give us an update on the process and where we are with this at this time?
Shayla Biko would have that information, and she's not present right now.
Okay. Is it possible that you could get Shayla to send it to me because the neighbors continue to ask where we are in the process? That way I could share that information with the neighbors once I have it.
Yes, we can.
Pastor Valina Green.
Valina Green, 603 Delaware Street, District 2. Good morning, Mayor, Chief of Staff that's missing, Mayor's office. Good morning. Good morning to Councilwoman and Council and women in leadership that's represented in this room. I pray today that I'm able to get your attention and help in some needed areas that's in the city. But I come to you with truth. I had to see it for myself. I went there. I do want you to know. I'm concerned about 358 McMillan Street by Ladd Stadium. It's a gigantic hole there, right there at the driveway and the sidewalk where you could bury a human body. It's a broken sewer pipe. That's my district. The person came to me with another gentleman. They could not get any help. So I'm asking for help today, man. I come before you and need you. 358 McMillan Street by Ladd Stadium. The elderly walk down the sidewalk there, going to Ladd to walk. The children are playing right there. I'm afraid because I don't want to see no more dead babies in this city. We done buried enough children. Have mercy. I was so afraid because the children were playing right there by it, and it's filled up with water. It could be a grave, and it scared me. I went to see it for myself, so it was not hearsay. I saw it with my own eyes, and I have pictures in my phone. It's 358 McMillan Street. Now, let me give you this. I'm coming out of 1 John 3:14 through 18. And I pray your strength in the Lord. And the saints, I ask you to pray for me while I'm here. We can assure that we have been translated from spiritual death into spiritual life because we love the family of the believers. A loveless life remains spiritually dead. Everyone who keeps hating a fellow believer is a murderer. And you know that no murderer has eternal life residing in him. This is how we have discovered love's reality. Jesus sacrificed his life for us. Because of this great love, we should be willing to lay down our lives for one another. If anyone sees a fellow believer in need and has means to help him, yet show no pity and close his heart against them, how is it even possible that God love lives in him? So I want you to check your hearts. Because when your brethren have come by to ask you to help, what is your response?
Thank you, Ms. Green.
You have a blessed day in the Lord.
Kathy Odom.
As a reminder, artists, undo a pause, please.
Hello, I'm Kathy Odom, 2520 Cedar Point Road, Mobile, Alabama, 36605. I am concerned about June 9th Loda Art Walk event with a drag queen show at Cathedral Square, sponsored by City of Mobile, City Parks and Recreation Department, and the Loda Art Walk. I have three choices. Number one, I can pray for rain. I don't think that might happen. The Indians did the rain dance. I don't have that heritage behind me. Number two, ignore the event. Number three, expose the event. Well, I chose number three. I am retired, beholding to no big corporation, just God, country, and family. Mama said to have courage to speak up if something is wrong. Well, here I am. About a month ago, I attended a TIF presentation at Riverside Baptist Church to revitalize South DIP. The parks will be a huge focus on improving and growing South Mobile DIP. After the meeting, I explained my concerns to Shonda Smith, who at the time was the director of City Parks and Recreation, about Rainbow Pride of Mobile and Prism United showing movies in the park as they promote the LGBTQ plus ideology. These organizations are part of Human Rights Coalition Campaign, Human Rights Campaign, which supports dismantling our society, destroying our culture and family unit. I told her that I was afraid of our children being groomed at these events. She assured me that the movie selections came from an approved list. Now we have a family-friendly event in Cathedral Square, which is part of Mobile City Parks. How can a drag queen show be available to our children? We don't want our children going to X-rated movies or watching porn. Ironic that this is in front of our Catholic cathedral, which backs all our Judeo-Christian principles upon which this country was founded. How about an inside venue for an adult crowd who may agree with this LGBTQ plus lifestyle and rated life? Why don't we rate the movies, rate them like the movies? I do not want my grandchildren exposed to this. We are not the woke city that these events portray, nor do we want to be. This is taking DEI to the limits. Inclusion on steroids? Are we trying to improve our ESG scores to get more federal money or to get a better interest rate on our loans? Be the leaders you should be. You were elected by Mobilians. Do what the people in Mobile are asking you to do. It starts here if we're to take our country back. And folks, we've lost our country if we don't speak up. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Timothy Hollis.
Timothy Hollis, 1924, Seal Street. Here to talk about inactive boards and committees in our city. We've got about nearly 20 different boards and committees alone that actually have teeth in this city, whereas we have about another of the same amount of advisory boards and committees in the city who don't have teeth. I'm here to talk about both sets of boards and committees. We'll start with the advisory committees. A lot of them, one which I serve on and have been serving on since 2016, is the Parks and Recs Advisory Committee. If we met as a body, her complaint would probably be one that we would have heard, one that we would have met with board members on the executive side to let them know that certain things shouldn't be. Kind of like when they showed Indiana Jones in Africa Town. I don't know how you go to Africa Town to show a movie about somebody robbing culture, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm just tired of seeing so much stagnation in our city. I come down here every week. A lot of other people come down here every week, and we talk about the things that can change in our city. Yes, some things are changing. Notice I say yes, because that was formed through advocation from people like myself. But we want to talk about boards like the Civic Centers Board, boards like Ladd Stadium's board, places where we have activity, places where we have possibilities to become greater than what we are. Merriam-Webster has a definition for the word of stagnant, which means showing no activity, dull and sluggish, similar to inactive, slow-moving, lethargic, flat, depressed, quiet, declining, dormant, and dead. You have a general manager at Ladd Stadium that tries to get things done in his city, at his venue, but he has a board in place that is unwilling to cooperate. How is somebody to be the head of somewhere and get things done with the stagnant board that's there to see him fail? Or a presiding council person that only wants to do the work in the way that they want to do the work, but not the way that that person sees fit. If we're going to have all these boards with all these people,
Thank you, Mr. Hobbs.
I don't get my extra minute today, right? That's cool.
If a council person grants it.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
I won't extend the time, but if I could ask the city clerk to provide a list of all called and all boards that were inactive, that were deemed inactive after the Administrative Services Committee meeting a couple of weeks ago to Mr. Hollins. He will then know that those inactive boards have been removed from the city's roster along with the personnel. That way he'll have a clear understanding of now which boards are active and aren't active.
Ms. Carroll, I grant you 1 minute.
Okay, so to go back to the word inactive is also a synonym of the word stagnant, which has a meaning of slow moving, dead, no action, no progression. How are we to become a city of progression when we keep fostering people who don't want to move the city forward? Ladd Stadium is a venue. It is a vestibule. It is something that is so big, it can be greater than what it is. But we don't have people in place that want to see these buildings and these venues advance. We just have people holding their name with a picture on the wall saying that I'm a board member here. But what have you done to advance these buildings? What have you done to advance these venues? It is incumbent upon leaders to take action and remove people that are not making sense, that are not making things happen. Stop putting your friends in places just because you love them, and start putting people in places because you love the people in this city. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Hollins.
Again, Mr. President, if by request, have someone send Mr. Hollins the list of the current boards and what boards have been cut so he have a clear understanding of what boards are active and non-active.
Madam Clerk.
Reggie Hill regarding Resolution 09604.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. And before I begin, I do want to extend a hand of gratitude for service to Executive Directors Batiste and Holt. While we may not have always agreed on how to go about policy in the city of Mobile, those two gentlemen were the ones who kept their doors open towards me in their time here. So I want to thank them for their service to our city. To the citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, greetings. Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. I rise today to address 09-604. And this is the transfer of funds from the general fund balance, basically the unassigned fund balance, or surplus rather, to events. As I move forward, it's just such a great day in the city of Mobile. We see all these young people here, as well as those with success for the future. So it's always a bright idea and chance for the city to move forward when we have our young people at place. So please continue to be contributing citizens rather than hindrances to our community. Now, there were a lot of other things that I could have addressed on this agenda today, particularly like the extension of $35 million going to the Civic Center when we have not spent a copper penny inside of the building yet. We can talk about the $1.6 million going towards just the design of this potential beach. We can talk about the $1 million that's on the agenda for vehicles without having an inventory list, or the $500,000 going for wall coverings in the convention center, which loses about $500,000 every single year. But what stood out to me today was, yet again, after spending $40 million last week from the surplus spending, we would tack on yet another $110,000 for something called events. Now, back in the day, and this wasn't too long ago, we had other people sitting in these seats before, at least when events came up, whether it was people inviting other mayors to come to the city, or like these $20-something thousand y'all spent on moon pies, you would specify what it was that was happening, and you would give the exact...
Hold up, Mr. Hill. Just stop a minute. Mr. Hill is due respect. I'm going to ask to please cease your talking while Mr. Hill is speaking. If not, if you need to talk, I'm going to ask you all to just leave the meeting. Just step outside, and when you finish, you come back inside. Sorry about that, Mr. Hill.
No worries. I think that's confusion within the rules we need to fix, too, about this undue applause. It actually probably a due response. But anywho, we're talking about these $110,000 that are going towards events that are not specified. When we put these proclamations out here regarding gun violence, we're in a public safety crisis in the city of Mobile. Yet we won't put $1,000 going towards the actual data-proven mechanics that would fix and alleviate these issues here in our community. And we're taking it personal. This is business. This is business. You should not even take my tone personal, because you are spending our money. People are not going to come in here and say, oh, I had a great time in this particular district, or a not so great time in that particular district. They're going to talk about their experience in Mobile. So unless we're down here advocating on behalf of the people that allow you all to sit up here and pay your salary, it's going to all be for naught. We can have all these great extravagant plans. We can have all these things in place that we say are going to move us forward. But until everybody is given the opportunity, until you are completely transparent with how you spend our money, it does not matter. So going forward, I hope the same enthusiasm, while we're just kicking out millions upon millions upon millions of dollars that are not changing the quality of life in the city of Mobile, we'll put that same enthusiasm towards data-proven initiatives that will actually fix what we need to do here. Thank you for yielding the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Ordinance is held over. 64024, rezone property at the north side of Government Street from B1 and B2 to B2.
Motion to table. Second. Been properly moving second in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Items tabled.
64025, rezone property located at 908 Kendrick Drive from R1 to B3. 88026, authorized to sell city-owned property located at 63 South Royal Street. 88027, authorized the sale of city-owned property located at 720 Museum Drive.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moving second in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed.
Resolutions held over. 21597, authorized contractor Kimley Horn and Associates for engineering services for traffic signal upgrades along University Boulevard and O'Shea Road.
So moved.
Second. Been properly moving second in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed.
Resolutions held over. 01569, authorized agreement between the City of Mobile, Mobile County Commission, and Airbus Americas.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moving second in the discussion.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds.
I have two amendments that I'd like to offer. They are on file with the clerk's office. They were recited this morning in the pre-council meeting. So that's a motion.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Going back to original. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
01598, authorized agreement with ALDOT for 2023 citywide sidewalk repair and maintenance. 08599, approved purchase orders for fuel for various city departments. 08600, approved purchase order to ordination for truck for public services. 08601, approved purchase order to Sansum equipment for 3 street sweepers. 08602, approved purchase order to Stivers Ford for Ford pickup. 08603, approved purchase order to Schaefer Plastics North America for plastic garbage carts and assembly and distribution. 09604, transfer funds from general fund unassigned balance to events. 21605, authorized contract with TTL Inc. to perform professional services for the Milan Avenue environmental study. 21606, authorized contract with Tyndall Construction for operable wall covering replacement at Arthur R. Outlaw Convention Center. 21607, authorized contract with Knight Sign Industries for marquee information board replacements at the Arthur R. Outlaw Convention Center. 21608, authorized contract with Blue Salvage and Diving for the restoration of the historic stream channel of the 3 Mile Creek. 21609, authorized contract with Christian Prius Landscape Architecture for Comfort Station prototype design. 21610, authorized change order number 1 with Volker for design and engineering of Brookley by the Bay. 21611, authorized contract with Moffitt and Nickel for CE and I Creek dredging project and in FWF grant closeout.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
Ordinances being introduced. 64028.
By council rules, this will lay over for 1 week.
Consent resolutions being introduced. 03612 through 60625.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of these resolutions as read.
Second. Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules waived.
03612, appoint Donovan Ballard to the Mobile Tree Commission. 27613 and 614 are authorizing pay for Lisa Lambert to serve as absentee election manager and for Marianne Merchant services as election specialist for the 2023 special municipal election. 37615, 616, 617, 618 are recommending approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail beer, table wine off-premises only license to A&B Food Mart, Spring Hill Avenue, for issuance of a special events retail liquor license to Bottles Up Mobile, Inc., Cooper Riverside Park, for issuance of a retail beer, table wine off-premises only license to Family Dollar on Dolphin Island Parkway, for issuance of a lounge retail liquor Class II license to Airport Liquors on Airport Boulevard. 58619, assessed cost for removal of weeds, Wheatling Group 1639. 60620, approve award a special bonus to the Administrative Services Employee of the Month. 60621, 622, 623, 624, and 625 are determining appropriations to ambitiously Him and Her King Foundation, Opportunity for Entertainers and Performing Arts, Tumenville Crichton Community Development Corporation, the Africatown Community Mobilization Project, Inc., Mobile Museum of Art, Inc., serve a public purpose and approving payment.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Resolutions being introduced. 01626 through 25639.
By council rules, these resolutions will lay over for 1 week.
Call for public hearings. 41640, call for public hearing to rezone property at the north side of Government Street, 140 feet east of South Ann Street from B1 and B2 to B2, scheduled July the 5th. And 41641, call for public hearing to assent to the vacation of a portion of an alley adjacent to 2411 Wilson Avenue, scheduled July 5th.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is called.
Announcements.
District 2, Councilman Carroll.
No announcements, Mr. President.
District 5, Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to welcome the YES interns today. I appreciate your staying all the way through this meeting. You get a little idea of what government's like. And I hope that as you spend some time working the various areas of the city, you'll come to understand a little bit more what self-government in terms of citizens governing themselves is like. Every governmental entity, the city of Mobile, the county of Mobile, the state of Alabama, all 50 states, the United States, need citizens to serve in government. And I hope that your time here will not turn you off from that, but turn you on to that in your future. The United States, is unusual in this respect. At the time of our American Revolution, there were no countries in the world where the citizens ran the country, where the citizens were elected to positions where they had the actual authority to run the country. That first occurred, at least in modern times, with the American Revolution. And the American Revolution led a fire which swept the world. It hasn't completely swept the world. There are certainly a number of countries left in the world where citizens do not have a voice, countries that are ruled by dictators and so forth. But our country continues along this way. The only way we can do it is if we continue to have citizens who want to serve in these roles and who want to move their country and their city and their county and their state forward. And I hope y'all will consider that as you grow older. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. District 4, Councilman Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to first acknowledge the speakers regarding the City of Mobile sponsoring the Pride event. I appreciate you making some of the comments you made. And I don't feel strongly one way or the other about people's sexuality. It's up to them, what they do. But I don't think the government should play much of a role in the advertisement, really, of any of the protected categories, whether it's age or sex or race or color or national origin. If the government is making these decisions on who they're going to sponsor and who they're not going to sponsor, they're essentially pitting one group against the other. And as is commonplace, we sort of get along a whole lot better if the government generally stays out of it. So that's what I hope we can arrive at going forward. Also want to take a minute to acknowledge the new airline of Velo, who's going to be taking its first commercial flight out of Brookley Field, Mobile tomorrow. And I am proud to say that I'm going to be on that flight, and I'm going to take my two little girls on their very first flight ever on Velo's very first flight out of Brookley Field, Mobile. And we'll return back the very next day, and hopefully we'll go to Disney World or something. I don't know what we're going to do while we're down there. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. District 1, Councilman Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank all the speakers that came down. I know Mr. Hollis brought up some issues with our boards. That's one of the reasons why we had our administrative service. When I got on the council, that was one of my concerns. And we was able to have our administrative service, and working with the administration, brought a consultant in to look over our boards. That was the information that Councilman Carroll was trying to share with you, that what we've been working towards. But I understand your concerns. To Mr. Hill that came down, kind of just wanted to answer that response about the situation with the balance with the stage. Well, it's because the events sold their stage, and they were just moving the funds back into that account. So I just wanted to, and I still know you probably still have your concerns, but I just wanted to address that. Those funds are going back into their account because they sold their stage that they normally have. Thank you, Mr. President. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Penn. District 7, Vice President Gregory.
No announcements, thanks.
Okay. And greetings to the citizens of District 3.
this coming Thursday is going to be an exciting day for me. One of my first tasks was, to completely redo Ann Street in District 3. And we are going to be cutting the ribbon on the final phase this coming Thursday at 10 o'clock a.m. at the corner of Ann and Virginia Street. Just inviting all the nearby residents to come out. And this is, again, a very exciting time for me. Something I'm very proud of, completing, getting Ann Street completely rebuilt. Something someone told me that was not going to ever be done, and I've been on council 10 years, and Ann Street has been completely rebuilt in District 3. Again, the ribbon cutting will be this coming Thursday at 10 o'clock a.m. at the corner of Virginia and Ann Street. Is there anything else from this council? Anything from the administration?
Yes, Council President, I'd like to say that because of your leadership and what you did in the very first CIP distribution of funding is why Ann Street has been rebuilt. So thank you very much for that. It had never been done had you not made that commitment. So thank you for that. I also want to thank the City Council for the 6-0 vote on the Airbus resolution. I think that sends a message into the aviation world that Mobile is supportive of Airbus, and we're appreciative of what they do, and we're open for business for those that come in support of Airbus. It's been a game changer for the city of Mobile, and I really believe that really the best is yet to come, providing where Airbus will be providing unique opportunities for our citizens. So again, thank you very much for your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Been properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor? All in favor? Aye.